great listener. I feel like he does a lot of talking but not enough listening. And I don't want to be with someone who can't take the time out to see me. I don't know. I don't want to go
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys about Ready to Love today. We're talking about Bryan and Alex. Talking about the fact that he didn't listen very well. So we want to break it down and get a closer look at their relationship and see what tips we can learn from the show. Guys, don't forget as well, please join the Patreon as well if you want to see more exclusive content and get involved with our monthly calls as well. Guys, if you're also new, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads, baby. And for those of you who are returning as well, you got the minerals. You got the minerals. All right, cool. Let's get into the video and let's take a little bit of a closer look at Alex and Bryan. So their relationship, Alex and Bryan, I think Alex is showing us that she's taken a different turn towards Bryan. The information that came in through her friend, I believe, and the girls as well later on have also started to show that she have started to influence Alex to look at the situation between herself and him differently. Okay, now I don't know what happened before this point, but it seems obviously Alex had kind of turned off. The energy was different for her in regards to her and Bryan, because we get a scene where Alex just looks pissed. Like, let's be honest, Alex does not look happy. She looks angry, frustrated, just thinking about life or whatever she's thinking about. Her arms are crossed and everything like that. She's sitting like that, looking away from Alex and looking away from Bryan.
Wanna go over there? Wanna go to the couch?
Yeah, the couch.
I wanted to talk with Alex because we were not communicating and vibing. Like,
even though Bryan's literally in her corner of sight, okay, she's still looking away, right? She's zoned out to the point where, you know, he said, obviously, let's talk, right? And when he said, let's talk, she seemed to kind of like snap out of whatever she was thinking about. So something was obviously running in her mind. She was really thinking deep. I don't know if there was an argument before with them two or something happened or whatever, but whatever it was, she was thinking deep to the point where she was almost ignoring him until he said what he said.
Wanna go over there? Wanna go to the couch?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if it was that he came into the shot or whatever, late or whatever, I don't know, but she seemed to be in very deep thought, okay? And when Bryan said, you know, he said obviously we haven't been communicating of late, you know, it was interesting, her response. I can understand why he thinks they haven't been communicating of late, because her energy shift has changed towards him. The current of flow that was happening before, gone. The sweet innocent, you know, come into my room, baby, come into my room. Okay, so that, all right, so like all that energy where, you know, she was so innocent, giggly, good, is starting to go. Right, the ease of him going into her room and wanting to give her a kiss, and that seeing that bubbly and that playful girl is starting to show the mood of her, right? And she's starting to show a darker side of her. When I say darker, I don't mean literally darker, but there's a more closed off Alex now. That bubbliness is starting to be put away now. It's getting a bit more serious as well, right? And then so Alex says, obviously, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out what shifted. Girl, first of all, she knows what shifted, okay? What shifted was her. And then she says this as well, like, you know, that, you know, later on she goes, you know, it's not you, it's me, right? But she just...
I don't know what shifted. I'm trying to just figure out what it is.
I don't...
There's nothing that you did.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what shifted. What she's trying to figure out isn't necessarily what shifted. She's trying to figure out, can I trust you? Because what she's feeling is a sense of, I can't be vulnerable at this moment, because now the information that's come in, and this is why I say about your relationships, is very important. What information are you hearing? Because in the Bible, the same thing happened with Adam and Eve. Eve was in the garden listening to the snake, although Adam was right next to her, he could have said something. She was there listening to the snake, and what did that mean for her? She heard the words, were moved, took the fruit, ate it, gave some to Adam, right? And what's important here is understanding how words can affect you, and you won't even know where it's come from. Because what she said is, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out what shifted. Sis, you don't need to figure out what shifted. Nothing shifted. What shifted is the fact that you got information and it changed the way you look. The Bible says we walk by faith and not by sight. And let me put this word. The scripture says that faith cometh by hearing.
He left. Her and I had a discussion.
You're giving me vibes that you normally give me when you ain't really feeling.
Really?
Hearing the word of God. Now there's a comma there, and I always say this to people: listen, whether you believe in Jesus or not, your faith is what is built by what you hear. So when you're hearing, it affects how you're seeing. So what's happened here to Alex is that she's heard some things, and it's changed the way she's seen Bryan. Her perception of him has changed. I mean, how many times has that happened to you in a relationship, or when you're talking to somebody and someone says something to you about that person and it changes your narrative about them? Or you're talking to them and they say something to you and you now get the ick. You get that, I don't know if I want him anymore. Why? Because you heard something that changed your perspective. So hearing changes the way that you see. Okay, so she knows something that she heard, and she's heard something.
So she couldn't figure out if it was me, if I was just being guarded, or if there really wasn't a true connection.
And I believe it's because of the way that she guards herself, that she wasn't able to be just so assertive with what she was really thinking and saying, hey, look, let me be honest with you. The information I heard, it's changed my viewpoint towards you. Okay. And I think that at that point where she obviously the energy shifted, we don't know because the editing probably might have changed it. But at this point, if you're someone who's watching this, understand this, you want to be asking that question at a point in time. Okay, so something shifted. Okay, let's talk. What do you think has shifted? Right? And you want to give that person a bit of time to be able to answer that question. Do you get what I'm saying? But you want to ask the question, because what you want to do is you want to get, maybe she's looking for the invitation, right? Some people are not so braggadocious to just step into the conversation and tell you how they feel. Some people are looking for the invite, which is what Alex was looking for, which is why she was complaining when he decided to not listen to her when she was telling her story. She was looking for an invite into the conversation. So in that particular instance, if he had just said to her, listen, look, okay, what's wrong? What do you think is wrong? What do you think is going on? Right? And when she says, oh, there is nothing that you did, she lying, girl, you lying. Like I'm not saying you're trying to lie on purpose, but you lying, because that's not the truth. She's like, it's just me. It can't just be you. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be you. You can't. It's not. No, something something has been said to you, and you're seeing it differently. Something has been said to you, and you're seeing it differently. That's why they played a confessional about her and a friend, right? And so Alex here is almost trying to spare his feelings, okay, because maybe she's not used to saying directly to the person how she felt. Maybe because she's been in an abusive relationship in the past, your voice gets muted in an abusive relationship. So when you come into a more healthier zone, or into a more stable relationship, you may feel like you have to tamper down your voice. The same can also be said when someone goes through an abusive relationship. They can become very boisterous with what they say, because they're like, I never want anyone to shut me up. I never want anyone to tell me what to do. And so they always got to speak, because they've got to defend themselves. And the vice versa happens as well, where the person feels like, I don't want to cause any to rock the boat, in a sense, right? But the truth of the matter is, it's not just her. It's not just her. She felt away because of what she heard. I believe so, right? And so that's why they played that clip with her friend. Now, he said, if I said what you said to me, and I appreciate Bryan for this point, because the way he delivered this is what I'm saying, it's very good.
Connection.
If I was saying this, what you saying to me, that might be my way of saying, like, maybe we need to slow down, or maybe we need to fall back. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying slow down or fall back. And she quickly goes, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. So what are you saying? Okay?
We need to fall back.
That's not what I'm saying. I didn't say that.
But you don't want me to fall back.
And she's going to explain it. So then he goes, that is, I was just saying, obviously, like, it was really good that Bryan did that. And the reason why it was really good is because what he did was he put it as his perspective. He didn't put it as hers. He said, if it was me that said this is what I would mean by it. And that forced then Alex to say, oh, no, that's not what I'm saying, right? But at least now he knows that's my perspective, how you say it. Basically what he's, in a sense, put out there is that, what would be your perspective? He didn't say, oh, that you mean you want me to fall back? He said, if I said what you said to me, I know what I would be saying. I would be saying slow down or fall back. And so that then puts the ball back into her court to say, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not my perspective. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a very clever way, the way he did it. And it's not bad. It's not him manipulating anything. It's just good communication at that point, because it allows her to then go, oh, okay, cool. No, that's not what I'm saying. I know. Thank you for showing me your side of perception of the way that you'd receive the information. That's not what I'm saying. Let me clear that up. And so when she said, obviously, no, that's not what I'm saying. You know, we don't really get the fullness of that conversation. It looks like it's edited, so we don't know the fullness of that conversation. You know, she goes on to say about the fact that, you know, they had a little bit of a joke or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they speak about the fact they're having an abusive relationship. What I would say is this: if you're watching this, like, when you say that's not what I'm saying, you need to say, what are you saying? Because you can't say, no, that's not what I'm saying, and then leave it there. There must be a conversation about, okay, so what are you saying? You know, take the initiative there and say, what are you saying? Because if you're waiting for the invitation all the time, you may not get it. And sometimes you have to just insert yourself in the conversation, say, hey, look, this is what I'm feeling.
But I've been in an abusive relationship before.
For real? How long?
Like 3 years. I guess maybe that's me being...
This is so essential, so I want you to pay attention to this. It's a key thing. She begins to share that she's been in an abusive relationship before, okay? And then he asks how long, and then she begins to share. When someone is beginning to share the deepest, darkest thoughts, it is a time that you have to understand this right here is buttoned, okay? The smart quicks and the smart comments, keep them to an absolute minimum, if not zero. Right? Minimum, right? You want to be listening. You want to be actively listening. And actively listening means when you're hearing it, I call them fillers. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Okay, I get that. Okay, and then you ask relevant questions that are relevant to the story. That shows you a listener. Oh, so do you mean what you were saying this? Do you mean this? Oh, you said this, but what did you actually mean by that? Right? And those things allow for the person then to explore the conversation in greater depth. I'm telling you, you get deeper with the conversation, baby. You feel me? And so when she said, obviously, that she felt like, you know, she was, when she felt like, she said, obviously, like, I'm being vulnerable and explaining to you why I am the way I am. Now, this is what she's doing here. She just said to you is that I am giving you me. I am giving you the blueprint as to why I am the way I am. At this conjuncture, again, shut your mouth. This is not the time to start talking.
It's paralysis by analysis or something.
What?
In that moment, I was trying to be open to him, and he just kind of dismissed me.
We are still figuring things out.
Because the person's actually now telling you, here is the code and design to how my system works. Here is a key to my kingdom. Okay, here's a door to my life. And at that point, what you are going to need to do is, again, stay quiet. Okay, and fill up the conversation with fillers and relevant questions, because now the person is looking for you to understand them.
Me being vulnerable and just letting you, also explaining to you why I am the way I am. Why does it take me a while to trust? You know what I'm saying? And
this is where it becomes, and I said this to my partner, I said, and when we have heated arguments, I understand, like, even me, just because I talk about relationships doesn't mean I don't get it wrong. Ask Hitch. It doesn't make it any easier. It just means I have the information, right? Cool. So, you know, when the situation happens, arguments happen because we lack understanding of one another. I have my own understanding, you have your own understanding. And when I feel like my understanding is not being heard, then I feel like I have to overstand. And then you feel like you have to overstand when I don't understand. You understand? And so when she's saying here, I'm being vulnerable and explaining to you why I am the way I am, at this point, what she's looking for is the comfort, the emotional safety, so that she can really speak about who she is, and then she can feel safe with him. But what does he do? And I want to say as well, that is the very reason why she gave Sam the chance. Yes, she said it was a little bit boring, but she gave him a chance. Why? Because he also too was looking for understanding. And so she was meeting Sam at a level where she would be having a place of, well, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you my time to understand you because I also want to be understood. Many of us do this all the time. Many of us do this. And so then he makes a joke or a silly comment or whatever. It might not have been that specific one because, again, I think the editing was very heavy here. And so when her next comment is, she says, obviously, in that moment, I was trying to be open with him and he kind of dismissed me. Why would she feel that? Because at the point in time when he was meant to be listening, he probably wasn't asking the right questions. He probably wasn't filling in, probably wanted to take over the conversation and not realizing that he doesn't, some people do some things where I say like they try to almost like, yeah, I've been through that too. We don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. This is about them. People ask me about how do I do my interviews and I go, yo, the way I do it is because it's not about me. I'm interviewing you. So it's about you. I need to put the spotlight on you, not on me. On you. So I need to be focused on you, asking you questions, seeing how you're going, seeing how you're doing. Do you know what I'm saying? I ask questions to get more out of you. And so when she says she feels like she's been dismissed, it's because you didn't listen fully well. And now she feels like you don't fully understand me. When I bared my soul and my blueprint to you, you weren't listening. You weren't fully attentive to that. And so many people do this in relationships and they lose the person they're with. And when I say lose, it doesn't mean right there and then, but you lose an emotional safety with that person. The person doesn't feel comfortable sharing part of their life with you in this area because now you were not attentive to it.
Trying to be open to him and he just kind of dismissed me.
We are still figuring things out because I don't know you like that and you don't know me like that. But the only way that's gonna happen is about to continue learning and growing.
Imagine I give you the most delicate thing in your hands. Like, who gives a baby to somebody who they think is going to drop the baby? You wouldn't give it to that person. So the same thing with our hearts and our minds. When we're at our most vulnerable, we want to make sure we're giving it to people that are going to hold it well. And when you listen, you're holding it well. When you're attentive, you're holding it well. When you decide you want to talk about you instead of that person at that moment in time, you want to inject yourself into it, you are starting to drop the baby. The delicate thing. You get me? And so that's why she said, oh, he's not a good listener. He does a lot of talking and not a lot of listening. And so at that point, you realize in their relationship, what she was looking for was understanding. And the reason why her guard was so up is because she never really got that understanding. And let me tell you something, like I said to people all the time, like when people come to me, they're like, listen, I just bared my whole heart to you. I don't know why. I'm like, I know why. Because the reason why is because the same way you're looking to be understood, it's the same way I'm looking to be understood. So I give you that room to tell me your whole life. I give you eye contact, I give you my ear, I give you my body. I make sure I'm all engaged. And actually sometimes it's a bit frustrating for me because it's like, sometimes I want to go home. Like, I do not want to have a conversation with you, but at that time, I'm giving you what you need, which means I'm fully engaged. When I'm talking to you one-to-one, I'm going to be like, my eyes are in your eye, my body is facing you. I'm making sure like I'm listening when I say, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. In fact, I think my sibling said, look at me like, my missus goes, because that's what I do. And the funny thing is, I learned that from my mum. And, when she's listening to you, she goes, okay, what did you say? And so she was showing me inadvertently what it means to listen. It's the fillers. It's the relevant questions at the right time. So if you're listening to this, make sure that you implement those things. Fillers, relevant questions, body language, eye contact. You understand? Yeah? Regurgitating information when they've said it or whatever to make sure that's what they're actually saying. Clarifying things. Those are all part of listening. Don't make the person that you're with feel invalid, okay? Create a safe space by giving them room to discuss and talk without making them feel shamed or embarrassed or unheard or unseen, okay? Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads, and don't forget to join our Patreon, Little Black Book 91, for more great content like this. All right then.